What if every ancient warning, every lost civilization, and every mysterious disappearance across the galaxy pointed to one terrifying truth, and we ignored it? They told us never to wake the sleepers of Terra, but we did. And what we found wasn't war. It was something far more dangerous. Limitless creativity with no rules, no limits, and no off switch. This isn't just the return of humanity. It's the beginning of a cosmic makeover. And you're not ready for what comes next. If you are new here, then please subscribe this channel and show thumbs up by liking the video. Now let's move to this wonderful story. The sun of the Varel system hung low over the broken landscape of a long-dead planet. Once this place had shimmered with towering spires and pulsing cities. Now only silence and dust remained. Chief Archaeologist Relo stood at the edge of a half-buried temple, their long coat fluttering in the dry wind. Their skin, a soft blue that deepened in curiosity, shimmered slightly as they stared at the markings carved into the cracked wall in front of them. "It's another one," Relo muttered, brushing sand from the inscription with a gentle touch. Behind them hovered Mufti, a plasma-based life form contained in a floating orb of light. Mufti pulsed dimly, unease radiating from their flickering form. "That's the 6th warning in this system alone," Mufti said. "They all mention Terra, and they all say the same thing, leave it alone." "Yes," Relo replied, half smiling, "and that's exactly why we won't." The message was written in a dozen alien languages, some known, some lost to history. But each had the same structure, the same emphasis. Do not awaken them, do not disturb Terra, stay away. "They make it sound so dramatic," Relo said, amused. Whoever they were, they clearly had a flair for the theatrical. Mufti's glow dimmed, or they were scared. From within the temple's ruins, another figure stepped into the light. Tarn, a historian from the stone folk of Durnos, had skin like worn marble and moved slowly, each step deliberate. "These messages," he said in a gravelly voice, "go back hundreds of thousands of years, entire civilizations, gone, all leaving warnings about one world. And none of them explained why," Relo said. "Exactly," Tarn replied. "They didn't need to. Fear doesn't always need explanation. Sometimes it's just known." Relo didn't respond. Their eyes were fixed on a smaller door carved into the wall behind the tablet. It was sealed, but the symbols etched around the frame were unlike anything they'd seen before. They were sharper, more precise, purposeful. Relo approached and tapped the door gently. The ground beneath them vibrated. Mufti flared in alarm. "I think that was a bad idea." "Nonsense," Relo said, though their voice was quieter now. "It's just a door." With a slow groan, the seal slid open. A cold breath of air escaped the chamber within, untouched for what might have been millions of years. Inside was a low chamber filled with broken consoles and shattered holoscreens. But in the center, one display still glowed faintly. Relo stepped closer. "Looks like it's been on standby all this time." The display flickered to life, then began playing a recorded message. A figure appeared, its face distorted, its voice heavy with exhaustion. "To any who find this, we tried. We tried to study them, to understand them. They came from the 3rd planet, from Terra. We thought we were more advanced. We thought they were just another primitive species. We were wrong." The image glitched, then continued. "They sleep not because they must, but because they choose to. When they rise, the rules change. Not just of war, not just of power, but of reality itself. If you value existence as you know it, leave them be." The message ended, and silence returned to the chamber. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Tarn said, "This is the 17th record we've found, all from different civilizations, all with the same message." Relo turned slowly. Their face was pale now, their amusement gone. "This can't be coincidence." Mufti hovered near the chamber entrance, flickering nervously. "We should report this to Central." Request a containment review. Maybe even a full system quarantine. Relo hesitated, staring at the blinking console. Then something strange happened. The console, which had gone dark, lit up again. Only one symbol flashed now. A small circular icon. A signal. It pulsed slowly, as if waiting. Relo stepped back. That's a distress beacon. No, Tarn said quietly. It's a wake-up call. The signal pulsed again, this time faster. A long-dead message suddenly brought back to life. Far beyond the Varel system, across the stars and hidden within the folds of space, something stirred. A barrier that had rested undisturbed for ages flickered, ever so slightly. Not broken. Not opened. Just aware. Back in the ruined chamber, Mufti's voice was barely more than a whisper. You didn't activate it, did you? Relo didn't answer. The beacon was still flashing. Whatever lay ahead, it had already begun. Outside, the sky darkened unexpectedly, though the sun still shone bright. Something unseen had taken notice, and deep in the ruins of a forgotten galaxy, the warning that had echoed for millennia whispered, again, this time not as a recording, but as a memory being reawakened. Do not disturb the sleepers of Terra. The ship Quiet Inquiry hovered in low orbit above the forgotten planet, its lights blinking nervously in the darkness. Inside, tension hung in the air like static. Chief Relo stood at the center of the command deck, their hands clasped behind their back, eyes fixed on the new data streaming in from the sealed vault. The signal they had accidentally activated had triggered something far older than they expected. Now ancient systems were coming online. Things that had been asleep for longer than recorded history were beginning to stir. In the corner of the room, Mufti floated silently, pulsing in quiet panic. The signal hadn't just lit up the vault. It had reached across space, bouncing off hidden satellites and dormant transmission hubs. It was going somewhere, maybe everywhere. I've run it again, said Dr. Senkai, a sharp-minded quantum linguist with long, flowing strands of light instead of hair. They pointed to the glowing symbols being projected above the console. The language we found in the inner vault isn't from a single civilization. It's a blend of over 30 different dialects. Someone, or something, went out of their way to make sure anyone could understand it. Then it really was meant as a warning, Mufti said. More than a warning, Senkai replied. It's a historical record. A journal of sorts, but the tone, it's not dramatic like the others, it's calm, precise. Almost like someone wanted to make sure we believed it. They activated the message. The projection shifted into a smooth voice, steady and clear, echoing through the room. Log entry 1092B. We were the last to try. We believed we had superior technology, more advanced thinking. We came to observe the humans of Terra while they slept. We underestimated them. Our hubris cost us everything. If this message is found, let it be a final reminder. We thought they were silent because they had fallen. They were silent because they chose to be. The message paused, as if expecting a response. Then it resumed. They altered their own system. Rebuilt every moon, ring, and asteroid to serve their purposes. They built defenses not to protect themselves from us, but to protect us from them. They sleep by design, not for survival, but because they had nothing left to prove. But when they wake, the voice cracked like the speaker could barely finish the thought. When they wake, reality bends around their will. They do not destroy. They create. And it is creation that terrifies us. The projection faded out. The room was quiet for a long time. So, Relo said softly, they were artists. No, said Tarn, who had quietly joined the group. They were gods who got bored. Down in the vault, a deeper signal suddenly activated. Kef, a researcher shaped like a small buzzing cloud of energy, shouted through the comms. Chief, something's happening. There's another layer under the main archive. I think it's a communication relay. Relay to where? Relo asked. To Terra, Kef answered. Direct. Everyone froze. Senkai looked up. They'll know we're here. I think they already do, Mufti whispered. For a moment, Relo considered giving the order to disconnect. Maybe it was still possible to erase the signal, shut the vault, pretend nothing had happened. But it was too late. The data was still moving. Outward. Faster than anything they could intercept. They watched as the planetary relay lit up with a soft blue glow, transmitting a slow pulse. Across the system, one by one, dormant satellites blinked to life. Orbiting, relics that had been invisible moments ago suddenly revealed themselves shimmering with energy. From deep within the vault, a new voice emerged. Unlike the first, this one was casual, even a little playful. "Oh, you found us. Took you long enough. Let me guess, you're curious, smart, and just reckless enough to ignore all the signs." The voice laughed. "Well, congratulations. You woke us up early, but that's all right. We've been meaning to stretch for a while." The transmission ended, leaving behind a single repeating message. "Coffee initializing." "Coffee?" Relo repeated in disbelief. Senkai shook their head, clearly confused. "The term appears often in their ancient data. It's some kind of fuel, or stimulant, possibly sacred." Tarn chuckled quietly. "They built a solar system-sized defense grid, and it runs on bean juice?" Before anyone could respond, the ship shook slightly. Kef's voice returned through the intercom, this time higher and quicker. We've got movement outside the vault. It's subtle, but the ground is shifting. Something under us just powered up. A structure, I think, or a machine." "Is it dangerous?" Relo asked. "I don't know," Kef said. "But it's smiling." Back on the bridge, Mufti dimmed to a pale flicker. "We really should not be here." But the decision wasn't theirs anymore. Whatever had been asleep was awake now. Not angry, not violent, just amused and hungry for ideas. In the distant dark, the signal continued its journey toward Terra. A quiet whisper no longer. A message, loud and clear. They're awake. The ship, Quiet Inquiry, dropped out of faster than light. Travel at the edge of the Terra system. For a moment everything seemed calm. The stars glimmered in their usual silence and the planets drifted along their orbits like nothing had changed in millions of years. But everyone on board knew that wasn't true. Something had changed. Something big. Chief Relo stood on the bridge with their arms folded, their face still and unreadable. Across the room, Mufti flickered nervously, hovering near the nearest exit hatch just in case. Dr. Senkai leaned over the primary sensor panel, watching the data scroll faster than they could read. Their brow furrowed. "Everything looks wrong," they said. "Not broken, just too perfect." "What does that mean?" Relo asked without turning. Senkai waved a hand, pulling up a rotating display of the system. "Look at the orbits, the way the planets move. There's a precision here that isn't natural. The moons, the asteroid belt, even the comets, they're all placed in mathematically perfect harmony." Kef buzzed into the room. "Found another strange thing. The ship's sensors are detecting something in the gaps between matter. Empty space isn't empty." Mufti's glow pulsed. "Please tell me you're joking." "I never joke about the void," Kef replied. "There's a mesh of energy strands across the whole solar system. A quantum web. It reacts when we move." "It's watching us," Mufti said softly. "Relo?" Exhaled slowly. "No, it's studying us." "The ship's AI," a cheerful voice named Loma interrupted with a tone far too casual for the situation. "Oh, by the way, 3 of the web nodes just activated. They're tracking us now." Everyone turned to look at the display. 3 points of light had begun to glow on the outer edge of the system. They weren't moving, but the ship's readings showed that every time the Quiet Inquiry adjusted its speed, those lights adjusted too. "I think we're part of a test," Senkai said. "Like, we triggered an exam, and now the system is watching how we react." "Test for what?" Relo asked. Senkai's face was pale. "Intelligence, or maybe creativity, maybe both." The ship passed Jupiter, and for a brief moment the view from the window was filled with its swirling storms and brilliant moons. Then, the sensors picked up something else. The entire field of moons shifted slightly. Barely noticeable, but not random. One by one, the moons arranged themselves into a shape. A pattern. Kef gasped. That's a smiley face. Did Jupiter's moons just smile at us? Mufti asked. I believe so, Loma confirmed, and one of them just winked. The crew stared in silence. This wasn't a defense system. It was something else entirely, something with personality. As they moved closer to Earth, the ship's main view was taken over by a display they hadn't activated. A symbol appeared, a large circle with rotating lines and blinking dots. Then, a message. Hello. You're early, but that's okay. We're always up for company. Below the message, another line appeared. Initiating environment check. Loading. That doesn't sound like a threat, Relo said. It also doesn't sound safe, Mufti muttered. Suddenly the moon lit up. Its surface shimmered, shifting like liquid metal. The craters and mountains rearranged themselves, revealing what looked like hidden panels, long lines of energy running beneath the surface. Slowly the entire moon rotated, revealing a massive lens where the Sea of Tranquility used to be. That's not a sea, Kef whispered. It's a cannon. Senkai was staring at the data feed. I'm reading massive amounts of power building up, but it's not aimed at us, it's aimed at Earth? The cannon didn't fire. Instead, it pulsed once, sending a wave of energy down to the planet. The energy bounced off the shimmering barrier around Earth, the same shield no one had ever been able to penetrate. As the wave hit, the shield changed color, becoming transparent. And through it, they saw Earth. It wasn't like any world they had expected. Towering structures reached far into the sky, their shapes constantly shifting. The oceans glowed with soft light, filled with moving islands and strange, beautiful machines. Rivers of light flowed through the air, connecting cities made of floating platforms and vast green gardens. From orbit, Earth looked alive. Not just populated, alive. It's art, Senkai said in awe. They didn't just survive. They didn't just build. They turned their entire planet into a masterpiece. A new message appeared on the screen. Welcome. We hope you brought your imagination. Then another. Testing creative potential. Please think of something fun. Mufti blinked. Is this a joke? I think they're serious, Relo said. This whole system, it's a canvas. They built it to test imagination. Kef leaned toward the console. What happens if we fail? Another message appeared in response. Don't worry. Everyone is creative in their own way. But if you try anything boring, we'll know. Senkai was still watching the energy web. It's fully active now. Every part of the system is talking to every other part. It's a thinking machine, a playful one. As the ship orbited Earth, one final message appeared. Brew complete. Creativity online. Begin the fun. The crew said nothing. They just watched as the moon winked, the Earth glittered, and the universe itself seemed to lean forward, waiting to see what they would do next. The ship Quiet Inquiry drifted silently above Earth, but there was nothing quiet about what was unfolding below. The planet buzzed with energy. Colors danced across the continents, oceans rippled with glowing patterns, and structures taller than mountains shifted like living sculptures. Every second brought a new surprise. Lights, sounds, and impossible shapes emerged and disappeared again, as if the planet itself were playing a game. On the bridge, Chief Rilo stood frozen, watching the display with wide eyes. Around them, the crew stared at their consoles, unsure whether they were witnessing a miracle or the beginning of something much stranger. Mufti hovered near the ceiling, glowing in a pale, anxious hue. This can't be real, they said. Planets don't do this. Cities don't bend like that. Rivers don't float in the sky. Dr. Senkai was leaning over the data console, trying to keep up with the constantly changing stream of readings. They've upgraded everything, they said. Physics, chemistry, even basic laws of time. It's like reality here is optional. From the far end of the room, the ship's AI, Loma, spoke up. Sensors confirm multiple gravitational fluctuations, synchronized with sound waves. Also, there appears to be background music now, Music? Relo asked, turning. Yes, Loma replied. From the planet. It's being projected across the system. Something about good vibes and fun times. Before anyone could react, a new message flashed across every screen on the ship. Welcome, explorers. We've just brewed a fresh cup of creativity. Want to help stir the universe? Kef, still buzzing around the engineering station, let out a small sound that might have been a laugh or a cry. They're serious. They've turned their entire world, and maybe this whole system, into a creativity engine. Another message followed quickly. Upgrades available. Would you like to suggest improvements to gravity, light speed, or reality settings? Relo read the words slowly. They're offering us editing rights? Mufti dimmed further. That's not how science works. Not until now, Senkai muttered. Down on Earth, vast screens appeared in the sky, displaying cartoonish versions of the ship's crew. The holograms waved, danced, and pointed to cheerful signs that read, "You woke us. You're now part of the beta test." Suddenly, the moon shifted again. Panels unfolded to reveal what looked like a massive projector. It lit, upcasting a beam toward the stars. Moments later, images appeared. Entire galaxies reshaped. Star clusters rearranged into spiral patterns that spelled out jokes in ancient languages, and black holes decorated with glowing rings of light. They weren't conquering the universe. They were decorating it. On the bridge, Senkai stared at the readings. They've connected every system in the galaxy to a central creative hub, and we just became the first participants. Relo took a step back, overwhelmed. So all those ancient warning, they weren't afraid of being attacked. They were afraid of being changed, Mufti said quietly. Loma interrupted again. Incoming message from Earth. Audio only. The voice was friendly, casual, and sounded like someone who had just woken from a very long nap. Hey, thanks for waking us, really. We were getting bored. Took a little break from reality, but now that we're up, we've got some ideas. Big ones, hope you don't mind. There was a pause, then the voice returned with a chuckle. Also, hope you like time-traveling theme parks. We've built 5 already. Outside the ship, strange shapes began appearing in orbit. They were stations, amusement parks, museums, creativity labs, all orbiting Earth. Each one buzzed with life, and none of them made any sense according to known science. One was shaped like a banana with wings. Another resembled a floating library made of bubbles. The crew could only watch. Kef turned slowly. They're not just changing their world. They're inviting everyone to play. Senkai nodded. The ancient civilizations warned us not because of fear of war, but because they couldn't handle the chaos of human creativity. They tried to understand it, contain it, but it overwhelmed them. A final message filled the screens. Don't worry, we're not here to rule. We're here to remix. The universe is our sandbox now. Thanks for waking us. Let's build something weird together. Relo looked around at their crew. What do we do? Mufti floated closer. We document it carefully from a safe distance. Just then, a package materialized on the bridge. A simple box wrapped in shimmering paper. On top, a tag. To our first visitors. Thanks for being brave enough to knock. Inside were shirts that read, I woke up Terra and all I got was this reality-bending souvenir. The shirts sparkled, shimmered, and changed color with thought. Outside, the stars were moving again. The constellation known as Orion had been reshaped into a giant thumbs up. The humans of Terra were back, and they were just getting started.